So Erin, thank you so much for inviting me to your home, a lovely home here in Clemens, North Carolina. Thank you.
Thank you for coming here and for meeting with me, world famous playwright and filmmaker.
Well, thank you. Just wanted to kind of do our part to make sure that people know who you are. So you're a military brat, so you kind of lived all over. What were some of your favorite places to live?
The favorite place that I lived was in Newport News. And so I was born in Sacramento, California, and we moved every 3 years of my life. So we've lived in the Midwest, we've lived overseas, I went to high school in Japan. But the favorite place that I lived was between 5th grade and 8th grade when I lived in Newport News.
What was so good about it?
I think that it was because of the neighborhood and the community and the people, and it felt like home. So when I started thinking about like where I wanted to go to school or where I wanted to live down the road, I knew I wanted to be a lawyer, but I didn't know where I was going to go to law school until I started making that decision. And I said, you know what? I want to live down south. I want to be closer to where I was really happy during my childhood years. So I came down here, came to Wake Forest.
So how did you end up in Winston-Salem? Was it Wake Forest?
It was Wake Forest, yes. So Wake had a really good, I went to undergrad at Michigan, and Wake had a really good reputation at Michigan. And so like any other Air Force brat, I did not come down here to visit. I just knew I had liked the South, and I applied and I moved down here, and it was exactly what I expected it would be. In fact, it was crazy because when I moved down here, the first weekend that I was here, I didn't know any place. I didn't know where to go. And two older women remember Roses that used to be here? In Roses told me where to go. They were like, well, you need to go here for this, and this is where you go here for that. And so it was just like, this is why I moved here, is because.
Why did you decide law? Why did you decide to?
So I knew ever since I was in 5th grade that I wanted to be a lawyer. And it was primarily because like my parents and we used to sit down and we would watch the news at night. And so you would hear about things, and I was like, I wanted to be a lawyer. I wanted to fight for people. And so it was sort of that's what started it, and it just continued. It never stopped. I never wavered. I never had a question about it. I knew I wanted to be a lawyer, and I knew I wanted to just fight for people.
So what area did you go into?
So when I started, I started in a small firm here in Winston-Salem. And so I did kind of a variety of things. I interned when I was in law school and worked when I was in law school because I also had loans. And so, but I worked in civil law, like personal injury, criminal law. I did domestic law, were sort of the areas that this small firm did. And I really enjoyed the criminal law and the domestic law, which was all district court practice. So that's where I kind of got the bug that I wanted to really be a district court lawyer. And that's what I've been for the past 26 years.
What do you get out of doing that? It's not just about money. I can see the passion and hear the passion in your voice.
No.
What is it about practicing that type of law that rewards you personally?
So it's about helping people, and it is about fighting for people. It's a variety of things. So for the first 10 years of my practice, I did pretty much half and half of criminal law and domestic law. And domestic law is like family law, like custody kind of cases. And I really enjoyed both, and they both gave me fulfillment in a variety of ways. So criminal law, as a defense lawyer in criminal law, I was fighting for people's rights and constitutional rights, and it was exciting, and I loved it. Family law was different in that you still have, I think a lot of people are surprised how much constitutional law goes into family law, but you're fighting for families and children. You're still fighting about constitutional issues and evidentiary issues. So it was about helping people on both sides that I enjoyed, and fighting for people's rights on both sides that I enjoyed. But I've been through a divorce with children. I know how scary that is. And so it gives me a special level of empathy for people, because fortunately we worked our stuff out, but a lot of people don't. And so I know what that fear would be like, because I would have been going into a courtroom with a judge I wouldn't have known, because they would have picked a conflicts judge.
So, Forsyth County District Court Judge, seat number 10, that's what you are running for. Why did you decide, why did you decide to do that?
So I've always thought about becoming a judge. I really felt that district court needed somebody with extensive family law experience, but also somebody who's got criminal experience as well, so that you can see both sides of things, because that's what district court is. District court is 3/4 of it is family law, whether it's criminal domestic violence court, whether it's civil 50B court, whether it's custody court. We need people in district court that have family law experience, because that court is the people's court. And I will tell you right now, and I know I'm super passionate about it, but I'll tell you right now, there is no other court that has as much impact on people's lives and the number of people's lives as district court does, because it deals with family law matters and it deals with criminal law matters, and it touches people's lives in ways that no other court does.
Why is it important for the person in that seat wearing that robe to have some type of family law experience?
Family law cases, if you get it wrong, you have screwed up a family. You have messed up children, and your recourse is to go to the Court of Appeals. And that means there's a 2-year, maybe longer journey before, if you messed it up, a court gets it right. With criminal law cases in district court, district court does misdemeanor type cases. If you mess it up, there is immediate recourse for the most part, in that you can appeal to Superior Court for a jury trial. You don't have that benefit in family law cases. And so it is incredibly important, not just because of, because the evidentiary issues, if you get it wrong, it's going to take forever to get it rectified, or it's because you're impacting families. And so on every level, you have to get it right. I care about my clients, I care about what I do, and because I've been there and I understand it. And I have spent my entire life practicing in district court. I have chosen this path and chosen this area of the law because this is the area of law that matters to our community the most. And so community for me and family for me is first and foremost. What's the most important thing in your life? Your family, your kids. Well, what's the most important thing in my life? My family, my kids. I want to know that the person who sits in that robe and who sits on that bench and is making decisions about people's individual rights, making decisions about criminal law matters, and making decisions about their families gets it right and has the experience, the know-how, and cares.
Why is it important for people to understand who you are versus your party affiliation?
Because it's about people, not politics. And that is probably one of it's the best question that people ask me. They'll ask me, well, are you a Republican or a Democrat? It doesn't matter. It shouldn't matter. And frankly, I don't agree that our judicial races should be partisan. But especially in district court, what matters is, do you know the law? Do you have that experience? Do you know what it's like to listen to families, listen to children talk about their experience? Do you know how to introduce evidence? It is important that that person have experience and that person have empathy, and that person, it doesn't matter about party. Party doesn't dictate anything in district court.
Why is it important for people to understand what a district court judge does versus just going to a ballot, voting straight Democrat or voting straight Republican? Why did he? What would you say to people about looking beyond the ballot?
Once again, district court is the people's court. I don't know if my clients are Republicans or Democrats. I guarantee you, I have never asked anybody whether they're a Republican or Democrat. All I want to know is, do you care about your kids?
You mentioned you're a business owner, you have employees. What are some of the experiences you have as a business owner, as you're practicing law, that would fall right in line with this robe you're about to put on?
So I think as a business owner, you learn how to manage people, but also manage people's expectations and listen to people. I'm a small business, so I'm not some huge conglomerate of 100 employees. I have 2 employees. At times I've had 3 employees, but just even with running a business, I know that I know about finances. I can empathize with people who come into court and they're talking about their finances. I understand a tax return, so that certainly, and a business tax return, that is helpful in your spousal support and your equitable distribution cases. And then I just understand the basic. I listen to my employees. I've had employees who've gone through situations in district court and they've had their family members come into district court. So it's a variety of experiences that have allowed me to be in a position where I really feel like I can help people.
Do you feel as though a person who is seeking that position, who doesn't have that vast experience, are putting themselves in the best light to help others?
No.
Why?
If they don't have that experience, it is. I have seen other races long ago in which you've had a number of people that do not practice law in district court that have run for district court just because they simply want to get a paycheck. I mean, it's a guaranteed pay salary. It's not the risk of running a business or doing other things. And inevitably, that would be a problem because you would have somebody who has no idea how district court, A, operates, but B, what experiences people go through in district court. Every time I go into court, clients are always nervous, right? Because they have somebody in a black robe who's going to make a decision that at that point you have to advocate as hard as you can and be prepared and be ready to go. If you don't know what this particular judge thinks, or you don't know what the rules of evidence are, and it's different in district court. It's a little bit scrappy. I like it. I like scrappy. But if you don't know how to operate in district court, and as a judge, more importantly, if you don't know how district court operates or how people coming into court feel, you're gonna impact families in a way that's going to be devastating.
Why is family important to you?
To me?
Yeah.
Because they're the most important part of my life. I love my family. I love my husband. I love my 3 dogs who are not here because they would probably be smacking me on the head and probably trying to lick you throughout this entire interview. But right. I think for me, family, especially because I'm a military brat, like, what do you have to rely upon? Like, your family. Your family is your people, right? So we were always tight growing up. There were 4 of us. I have 2 brothers. I have a sister. My youngest brother and I used to go head to head all the time, had the cereal box wars where we had cereal boxes in front of us because otherwise we'd fight. But family was always important. And so that has always been the forefront for me. And even though, my kids, my ex-husband and I, we co-parent our kids, and it's still important for us that we operate as a family. And my husband and I and my boys and my ex-husband, we do holidays together. We do Thanksgiving together. We do Christmas together because it's important. Family is so important, and family can take a whole bunch of roles. I don't care whether or not you have kids, don't have kids, gay, straight, doesn't matter. Family is family. People are people. Your people are your people. And so that's why it's so important to me as a district court judge that you get it right. Because if you mess it up, you mess up your people, you mess up your families. And it matters. It just matters.
Thank you for taking the time to talk with us just for a few minutes, and good luck, and we'll be pulling for you.
Thank you.